Welcome to Cyclops is Waiting for Me, an X-Men animated recap podcast with Marvel's animated... God damn it, keep it. Marvel Anime's X-Men Episode 3 Armor. We got to figure out a better intro. It's awkward. We say X-Men and anime way too many times in that intro.
Yeah. I'm
JC. Hi. We also are recording these monthly now because we're doing 2 episodes in a given month, and I feel like I get out of practice if I don't do something for a full month. So yeah, I do want to date this podcast. Today they just showed the X-Men characters for Marvel Token, which is the fighting game that's coming out for PlayStation, and Stephen Bloom, who is our Wolverine in the X-Men Wolverine and our Marvel anime X-Men Wolverine, is also voicing Wolverine in that game. So there are 2 Wolverines in the world, and one is Cal Dodd and one is Stephen Bloom for the animated stuff.
That kind of makes me want, like, if there's a Deadpool and Wolverine 2, which has to be, right? It's made $1 billion.
Till he's 90.
They have to have Stephen Bloom and Cal Dodd, like, appear somewhere, right? Like,
well, Cal talked about that. At one point, he was originally going to be a bartender in one of the Wolverine movies, and that scene got cut.
Okay, well, I just mean, like, as, like, one of the cutaways of the alternate universe Wolverines. You know?
Oh, totally. Yeah. I'm just saying, we almost already had, like, a moment with Cal and Hugh Jackman. It just didn't end up making it in, so.
Yeah. Cool. And I'm Rod, and I've had an excuse every week for 3 years now why I'm tired. This year is because it is after the busiest time in LA music, probably, because there's 2 back-to-back weeks of NAMM, which is a big music convention, and the Grammys, which I think most people have heard of. So I just got back from a week of Grammys stuff, and also got back into, like, recording with the project. Hopefully everybody will hear about later this year. But something I was going to, like, touch on a little bit. I haven't talked to you about this yet. Have you watched Wonder Man yet?
Yes, I watched all of it.
Oh, cool. What'd you think?
I thought it was good. I was way more interested in Simon's story than I was in Trevor's story.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair, right? It's about Wonder Man, so...
Yeah, I wanted to know more about, like, his power and his origin and stuff like that, because unlike, we talk about not everybody needs an origin story, Wonder Man we do, because, like, even as a comic book person, I know it loosely, but I've never read Wonder Man's origin in any version of him. So, like, I actually want to know what the MCU version of it is, and I know you have a theory about that. I don't necessarily agree, but I've also learned to not doubt you when you say shit like that. So
I actually texted JC before he watched it, because I binged it all in one night, because it's an easy binge, actually, and I also just knew if I started I wouldn't.
Yeah, I was about 2 sittings to get through it, because I started it the first night on the later side, so I didn't want to be watching it until 2 a.m.
So I texted JC about it, and I was like, I have a feeling that Wonder Man is going to be no spoilers, but just my
this is Rod being Rod, let's be clear. Yeah. There's not any indication in the episode that makes this true.
Yeah, I think he's going to end up being a mutant. There was a story point, but the good news is I forgot it, so I can't remember what it was that actually made me think that. But then it also made me think of the DODC, which people knew from the trailers were going to be in this, as from Ms. Marvel and Spider-Man, I think.
Yep.
I think they're going to be like the Friends Humanity, like Trask, like, the like mutant registry act people and stuff, just by the way everybody's behaving. But also, like you said, the absence of an origin story felt purposeful, because it's almost like there was some mandate to, like, not give the first mutant origin story to a TV show for the MCU,
Right.
Because even Ms. Marvel, like a spoiler for a 3-year-old show, wasn't really an origin story for me. I mean, there was a big reveal at the end, but I don't even know if that's gonna stick after all the changeover stuff.
I mean, who knows at this point? Yeah.
So it feels that way, and so I originally, maybe it wouldn't be weird not to have an origin story, but without giving any spoilers, they do a complete origin story for a totally random character in the show. So that's not like.
So I don't think that's a spoiler. They include Doorman, who the thing that is interesting about Marvel TV is they've now used two of the Great Lakes Avengers or Great Lakes Champions or Great Lakes whatever Defenders. They keep losing the IP. Like, literally, it's lawsuits is why they keep switching what their name is. But Doorman, and then is it Mr. Impossible was the guy who jumped off the roof in She-Hulk? I can't remember his name.
Yeah, it was like, it was something like that. Yeah.
But those they keep using these like literally D-level characters in the West Coast based stories for Marvel. So,
and also if you wanted like a weird non-superhero reason to watch a show, Josh Gad is canon in the MCU now.
Yeah, Josh Gad as Josh Gad.
Yeah, as himself, and also like not just a cameo necessarily.
No, it's the whole episode.
He's a lingering plot point.
Yeah.
Like right now, like he's an unresolved plot point from the show that we don't know where he's going to pop up again. And also Trevor Slattery, who was in Iron Man 3 and then Shang-Chi and stuff. Not only is he's like the supporting, right, for this show, but wait, what was I going to go with that?
I have no idea. You were on one of your tangents, so I was just letting you rock with it.
In that, so I can't take credit for this. Jessica Clemens noticed this. In the MCU, Trevor Slattery is just Ben Kingsley. He's like the
he's literally just that world's version of Ben Kingsley.
Because whenever there's a movie poster in the background or a movie they reference that Trevor Slattery was in the show, it's just a movie that Ben Kingsley was in our world.
Oh, was it? I didn't actually notice that. Okay, that's pretty dope.
I think it's kind of funny. Even the references that Wonder Man makes is like, oh, you were in this movie, this movie, this movie. It's like those are just Ben Kingsley movies.
See, I put no effort into research for that show, so that was completely over my head.
And then the last little like kind of just nod that I think is fun, and I also can safely talk about this now because I don't live there anymore. But like a lot of the show takes place in my old neighborhood. So, before last fall, I used to live in Eagle Rock, LA. And so, like, to people who don't live here, it doesn't really mean anything. I'm in Los Angeles. But to people here, you know where that is. You know the vibe and stuff. But, like...
That was a part of the show that was like, we really want to emphasize that we are in Los Angeles. And here are neighborhood, like, graffiti murals and stuff like that. It was like... It was a similar vibe to like watching BoJack Horseman, where they're like, we're going to give you like an LA reference every 9.5 minutes or something like that. It very much felt like that vibe. And like to your point, people outside of LA have no idea or give a fuck about any of that. So,
and it all kind of makes sense too, because like, so the first time that Trevor Slattery and Simon meet is in the Highland Theater, which I've seen many movie at, but it's been closed for a few years. So it makes sense that they filmed there. And actually, I guess like a little tip off to anybody who's a Tarantino fan, they also turned that block into like the 70s for some upcoming Tarantino film. Because I was getting lunch one day and I was like, why does everything look weird in this neighborhood right now? And then when Simon's a kid, the theater his dad takes him to is the Eagle Theater, which is now Vidiot's. And I've been to Vidiot's for...
I didn't realize that was Vidiot's. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the new Vidiot's. So what's weird is when Vidiot's moved to the Eagle Theater, I want to say like 2021, like right after the pandemic.
Yeah.
And when that happened, for anybody that isn't familiar, just look up Vidiot's. You'll see all the celebrities that own that place. But they do like film screenings, and there's like a little like makeshift Blockbuster that rental DVD rentals and stuff. But it also means that there was like a lot of film like movie premieres there too.
Right.
So, like, all of a sudden, like, maybe 25% of the movie premieres that I normally would drive to Hollywood for, it was literally just across the street. So I would, like, walk out my driveway across the street to the premiere. So it was funny. I think there was a couple of restaurants they went to, too, that I ate at all the time and stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, they were...
the intersection with the chase that happens where the person sees the thing... I'm being vague for those who haven't seen it. I've definitely like driven by that intersection like a million times. Like it becomes like, can you spot this? Like, where's Waldo vibes in Hollywood? So,
but I would recommend it, especially if you like the studio or any like Hollywood like referencing shows. I think this is one of Marvel's like better TV shows.
It has and obviously like it's a different side of the coin, but there's like a little bit of that same vibe as the franchise, which was that HBO show that was all about the fake MCU and stuff like that. But it's like very production oriented and things like that. So I dug it.
And also because it's Dustin Daniel Cretton who directed it, he also directed Shang-Chi, and he's directing the upcoming Spider-Man movie. He does a good job of making like a self-contained show. So if you don't have to go into knowing anything. Even though Trevor Slattery came from like Iron Man 3, they give you enough information. They explain it enough that it's better if you know it, but you're not going to be clueless if you don't, which is great. And I think even if you don't know it, I thought about it, it kind of ends up just being a dark joke. Mm-hmm. You know, like, oh, you
were a terrorist?
Terrorist, yeah. And he's like, yeah, that was on the life. No. So anyway, but that was my little sidebar because like it's kind of like X-Men related because like he might interact with the X-Men and the MCU in the next few years. Like,
I mean, I'll put it this way: I don't love the idea of taking a character that's not a mutant and like making them a mutant. I accept it for Kamala. I don't want that to become a trend. I'll put it that way.
Oh, I remember why. I guess skip 10 seconds if you want to hear this, but like it's a minor spoiler. The reason I thought that Wonder Man is going to be a mutant is because his powers seem to have manifested at puberty, is what they pointed out in the show.
Okay.
At least from the information they gave us. And so, like, anything that doesn't have, like, I've touched a toxic goo origin story, that might just be the mutant thing, So, anyway. Yep. Back to our universe. Cyclops is waiting for me as a podcast series.
To the fifth line in our script.
Yeah. Watching every single X-Men animated episode we can find. The podcast started with the original 1992 X-Men the Animated Series, building up to the release of X-Men 97. Along the way, we've completed X-Men Evolution, Wolverine The X-Men, and our companion interview show, The Xavier Files. Season 2 of X-Men 97 is coming this summer, whatever that means. But until then, we're going to be diving into Marvel Anime X-Men for our very first time. Or basically my first time.
Yeah, I didn't update the script. Some quick reminders were a recap series about, a recap show about a series that started over 15 years ago. There are going to be spoilers. If you don't want it spoiled for you, pause the podcast, watch the episode, whether it's on a DVD or whatever website you can find it on, and then come back. I don't feel guilty about saying it because Disney does not make this available anywhere. And we are currently not sponsored or affiliated with Marvel Animation, Disney, or Disney Plus in any way.
And don't forget to follow us on social media at Cyclops and IWFM Pod on Instagram, Threads, Facebook, and one of these days I'll update TikTok. It's just that platform is a mess right now. I mean, it probably will just get worse. You just have to tell me when you've given up on it because I've literally deleted TikTok off of my phone. So okay, I just assume you have put it there. But before we get onto the show, and there's a race going by my street right now, we want to acknowledge two things that we did miss. One, episode 1, The Return, was also called Joining Forces in Japan, and episode 2, U-Men, was called Mutant Hunting in its original broadcast. Oh, wow, okay. And we also forgot to mention the 2 Marvel anime films that were also in this shared universe, Iron Man, Rise of the Technovore, and Avengers Confidential, Black Widow, and Punisher. My bad. Oh, I wasn't even aware of those. All right, cool. Yep. They, I was aware of them. I just forgot to write it down for when we talked about it. So today we are going to be talking about Season 1, Episode 3, titled Armor. It aired on April 15th in 2011 in Japan under the title Secondary Mutation. That's not right. Well, I'll find it at one point when Rod is on some sort of tangent. I'll get the name. Okay. And then November 4th, 2011 in the US. It currently sits at a 7.1 star rating on IMDb and is actually one of the top rated episodes with a 7.1. I guess I could see that. Yeah. You know what's weird? It's like I can see that, but also this is like one of the, I don't want to say it's uneventful. They don't go very far. I guess it's probably the best description. What do you mean by don't go very far? I'm genuine, like not pushing back. I'm curious about that. Like geographically, don't they just stay like in like a building for most of the episode? I mean, like it's a lot of dialogue around a table. Yeah. Or cryo bed or whatever that. Hold. Awakening. Awakening is the the title in Japan. So yeah. That kind of makes more sense, actually.
So now these next few episodes have no previously on in them. They jump right into the intro, and it kicks off around everyone is around the Emma tube, and they point out that she is one of the 4 leaders of the Inner Circle. I really want to know why it's called the Inner Circle on everything and not the Hellfire Club. Like, modern day, I get why you wouldn't do that, because you don't want to put Hellfire Club confusion with, Stranger Things and stuff like that. But I genuinely am curious if there's anybody who has worked at Marvel that could share that anecdote with us. Please do. I would love to know the actual reason for that one. But they do actually refer to her as the White Queen, which I know sometimes is iffy if you describe her using that name in the modern era too. So
they also said it in a way that, like, at least for me, it could have been taken either way, as like that's her code name, or they're just kind of like dissing her almost, like our White Queen, like.
Okay, you can see that. There's definitely a level of like grossness when saying it that though, like they're so up their own ass that they're like calling themselves kings and queens and stuff. It's like,
I assumed it was like a chess reference.
Well, that's the thing, is it is a chess reference, but there's also like, but you're calling yourself a king or a queen, or
yeah.
I mean, if you're calling yourself a bishop, you're kind of a dork, but like you're literally calling yourself your own king and queen. Okay. Scott remembers, when he was seeing Jean in her Phoenix state, that Emma was there, and proceeds to then tell Wolverine that Emma was there when everything went bad for Jean.
Well, because they showed it the last like in the first episode, right? So like I like that this is like cemented this as the great mystery of the series.
Yeah.
It's like why Scott saw Emma there.
Yeah, so what was going on around it, and
we still don't know if she was really there.
Or was it Mastermind playing tricks and stuff like that?
Yeah, or if Scott's in some psychosis or something.
Storm instantly throws doubt, and not really sure. I'm not loving the way Storm is written in this episode, if I'm being totally honest.
Was this the one where she like ran out of juice or something?
So I do have something around that too.
But that was this episode?
Yeah, that does happen.
Okay. Yeah. So like, kind of, I get what you mean. She was pretty docile in this. So like, it wasn't Halle Berry offensive yet, but like, it was weird.
But I was like, why doesn't she believe her own teammate? Is she's just instantly believes this random woman that she's never ran into before, who was a part of their former enemy team.
I see what you mean. Yeah, because there's a lot of times Storm, actually a lot of the X-Men in the background, they're just like, I believe her. What do you like? But just like, and I guess that's the very anime part, right? It's like the background ADR vocal of like, no, I believe her. Like,
right. Scott straight up implies that, it was Emma who killed Jean. And Storm is like, but we were there. We would have seen her too. How come we didn't see her? We saw Jean kill herself. And again, I'm like, why are you not trusting one of your leaders? Like, that's a weird, and then Wolverine's like, all right, let's fucking go. And he's ready to stab Emma, who's unconscious at that point. And Scott stops him. I'm like, all right, well, it's still Scott, because Scott isn't going to allow murder. Scott is going to bring somebody to justice, but he's not going to straight up kill this person. So,
and like 2 things I noticed in that point is like Wolverine. I feel like I'm 75% sure they edited out the word bitch. He's like, this chick. I was like, that's weird. This chick just did, whatever. I was like, okay. The other thing is like, in that same moment, I think Beast made a comment of like questioning the how ethical it would be to like
kill an unconscious woman.
So I kind of like that though, because this finally paints Wolverine as feral as I kind of always
like more loose cannon-y and stuff. Yeah.
Like that he's like, there's, and also like the way like even he treated women in the original X-Men 92 series and stuff, like it kind of like goes where like there's no rules, of like society for him.
Yeah. If I'm going to kill somebody, I'm going to kill somebody. I don't care if it's a woman or a guy. Yeah.
Kid or whatever, anything. He's just like, all right.
He doesn't kill kids.
Does it?
Nope.
Kind of almost did. Yeah. I know. Nope. But like,
he doesn't like kids. He didn't want to like, he was like, I don't want to deal with this. And he threw a child to Jubilee, but he doesn't kill them.
Yeah.
So,
well, I guess what I mean is like, if if it, like not for no reason, like if there was a threat, I don't think he'd make it. Like I like the idea that there's no distinction. He's like, oh, like we're gonna save a bunch of people from this, done. Like
fair. But yes, so Beast and Storm are kind of like judging Wolverine for that, and they kind of move past it. They open up the pods, and you see Emma Frost waking up from her POV and
defrosting. I was waiting for that one.
I'm gonna force my way through that. But you see that Sublime is watching over a feed, and Kick is getting really, really impatient. And you find out that part of the reason why Kick is the way that he is Wolverine essentially cut him in half the last time they encountered each other. So this is the part where I don't know if maybe we should have watched these in order, and that happens during the Wolverine series, or it's just implied. But Rod had this DVD and not the Wolverine DVD, so that pushed this one ahead. We got to talk about one thing, Rod. The way Emma is drawn, there is zero subtlety in the artistic depiction of Emma, and yeah, it's too glaring to not bring up, right?
Literally glaring. So it's funny because it's not surprising because White Queen has always kind of had like the valley as part of her look, right? And
the valley.
So maybe this is the Protestant side of me. Like as kids growing up, like in like videos they would show us at like Sunday school and stuff. Like they teach girls. This is 80s, right? So the 80s like church modesty for women is like don't let the valley show is like their way of saying,
Okay.
So
we
that's
call
part
that a boob window, but yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just the cleavage is the valley. So that makes sense. But then, like, we find out very soon that her primary characterization in the show is she's a tutor, and so that makes it extra funny.
I didn't. But also, like that. That's great.
Yeah. So it's a very like kind of that's an anime trope, right? Like, oh, teacher, like sexy teacher thing. I don't know, but the tutor thing is a very Asian thing.
Is it?
Because I didn't grow up I grew up in Indiana, but even because most of my parents are from Korea growing up. So it's pretty much standard, or at least I'm only speaking for like 80s and 90s kids. I don't know how it is these days. In like Korea and Japan and stuff, you go to school during normal hours, but then after hours you have a tutor to do more school. And so even me growing up in Indiana, when all my friends got to do like basketball and stuff, later on I got to do basketball, but in my elementary years, my parents still tried to kind of do the Korean thing. And so I would go to school and then I'd come home,
go to more school.
Yeah, like have half an hour to like have snacks or whatever. And then they paid a tutor to come tutor me in more math or something in like third grade.
Right.
But because that's just how it is over there. So like for Hisako to have a tutor for like her special skills is like a very on brand like East Asian thing. So it's kind of interesting that it's Emma, and it's extra funny that's a tutor with like a glaring boob window.
Glaring boob window. Here's the thing. Some of the other episodes when I'm like looking for like images for clips, they only have like 3 or 4 images. I guarantee you when I look for images of this episode, that is going to be every fucking Google search result.
But also, just to be fair, every time it's on her, it's just like fisheye lens, like front view. They make sure to accentuate and stuff. There's even one point later on where like Asako like goes to be comforted by Emma, and she just nests her face in the valley, like she's like, oh.
I did notice that too. It covers like one of her eyes.
Yeah. And the framing doesn't have Emma's face in it at all.
No, you can't fit it.
But true to anime stuff, like nobody in the world is acknowledging it. It's just something where you see at home, you're like, oh, all right.
Nope. There are lots of things that don't get acknowledged in anime, and this is one of the least problematic. So, so Emma starts to regain consciousness, and she's pretty clueless about all the gene stuff that Scott immediately begins throwing at her. Says that the X-Men were not even on her radar anymore. She's no longer a part of the inner circle. And of course, Beast does what Beast does, which is ask questions and asks why she would quit. And Emma says she's basically a different person and she's not what Mastermind wanted her to be, which dynamic wise, that's different than most of the other versions of the inner circle that we've seen, because Mastermind is kind of like at the helm of it right now. Where in even like the Dark Phoenix saga from X-Men, the animated series, he was one of the more powerful ones, but he was still like obeying other people's orders. Like they were telling him what powers to have and things like that. So,
yeah, I guess we'll also find out like how much truth there is in what she's saying down the road.
Emma notices Hisako, and Scott like tries to stop her from going to her. Like he's still super on the defensive, and then she gets up and starts to like make her way to Emma, and like her shoe falls off and she's like struggling to walk, and everybody's just letting this girl who's waking up out of effectively a coma just like stumble over. I thought she was gonna like fall over and like crack her head on a table or something like that.
Yeah, I guess were they trying to show that she was atrophied because she'd been under that long? Like, I guess in my head it was like a couple days, but a really long time.
I think we were under the impression that it's probably been at least like 6 or 7 days minimum, something like that. So yeah, I guess when you've just been knocked out that long, I mean, yeah. I remember waking up out of anesthesia from getting my teeth pulled and I almost fell into a door. So I can't imagine. She's under some strong shit. Let's be real.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I forgot. They
gave her the neck thing.
Yeah. And Emma told, yeah, okay, fair enough. Okay.
Yep. So you get more of the info dump that her parents had called Emma to come and help her, and they didn't want to wait for her powers to just organically happen again. They wanted to like proactively tutor her so she was ready when they popped up for real, which I now, based on what you've said about like growing up in a family like environment like that makes even more sense culturally.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because like when I say like I get tutored after school, it wasn't on stuff I had just learned. It's on stuff I was supposed to learn like in the coming weeks. So it was like to
be pre-prepared that you're going to like crush it when it comes in front of you.
Yeah, it's like kind of a competitive thing because you think about it from like a Western point of view. It's like, well, you go to school to learn. I don't want to speak for all Asian parents, but at least for my parents, are like, no, you're at school to be the best. So you're going to learn this at home, and then you're going to beat all the kids when you get there. Like, okay.
It sounds like your parents were kind of like from the Hunger Games, like treating you like you were the District 1 kids of like, you're volunteering to go into the Hunger Games. This is not a lottery system.
It kind of is, though, because I was the first son of the first son in an immigrant family, stuff. So there was that competitiveness, and I went and became a musician and disappointed everybody. But like, it is kind of funny. So this makes sense though, because like this is something like it's not being good at algebra. It's like you could kill thousands of people if this manifesting correctly.
Yes. You find out that they had tried to get in touch with the Xavier Institute, and then she gives like a really snotty remark about like, oh, I guess you guys were all on vacation, not acknowledging that one of their best friends died on a mission or anything like that.
I was hoping that one of them, like, I don't know who would have been, maybe Cyclops or Wolverine, been like, no, just Storm was on vacation.
Yeah, Storm was the one who's actually Beast became a Harvard professor, so yeah. You get a little more lore drop about her, that she had been at another academy, which we've heard about in other shows, that she was in the Massachusetts Academy. And then, she went back there after leaving the Inner Circle, and she was working with a South American kid who had like water powers. And I couldn't place if that was supposed to be a specific character. I think it was just like a general mutant. But yeah, she was doing telepathic, and then 2011, that would have still been Skype, is how I'd imagine she was doing those phone calls. I
was wondering, because the tutor sessions were remotely, so I was like, yeah, I keep forgetting, because like we've had FaceTime so long now, it's like one of those fuzzy things. It's like, When did that come into play about being like normal? So I guess it was Skype, yeah.
I want to say it's Skype because when I moved to LA in 2013, I was still Skyping weekly, like with parents back home and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Like it was specifically Skype. And then we all know how that turned out for Skype.
Drop the ball.
The hardest ball drop possible.
I think that there was a cultural moment though of 2020 defining Zoom. So we will always have that like mile marker, you know.
Yep. Zoom happy hours for 1 week were not sad, and then Zoom happy hours in the second week were very sad. So she tells Hisako that she's going to be coming to visit, and she disappears and wasn't able to contact her with telepathy. She mentions the telepathic dead zone, and then she goes to the spot where she was kidnapped and is surrounded by like 40 U-men at that spot. So
same thing that happened to everybody else who was there.
And that is where we have the part of my notes that I can't read, so we're going to skip past that and moving right on to Cyclops doesn't buy what she's saying.
Oh, okay, because I had here that there was a cutaway where, like, I guess it was Kick and what was his name?
Sublime.
Keep the bioanalysis going.
Yeah, that's roughly at that same time frame. Yep. She's also not able to use her telepathy on any of the U-Men because they're essentially cyborgs. So that, that's the excuse of why she's not able to shut them down or really have any sort of power against them. And that right after that is where the conversation happens with Kick, because Kick is still impatient. He wants to go at it. And there was one, I think it was behavioral analysis was complete, and then they were like, but now we need cellular analysis. And then Storm jinxes the entire team because she's basically like, oh, it's too quiet. Wolverine doubles down on the jinx, and then you see like a ton of U-Men pop off, and they acknowledge that Wolverine jinxed it. And then he's like, yeah, well, I was trying to get him to come out of hiding. Like, he's like, I just wanted to stab something at this point. So,
and to your point, in this episode, Storm is gradually turning more into Halle Berry's Storm.
Well, because it's at that point that Beast tells her to hold off because she's still weakened from the previous fight.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I hadn't really considered. In animation, haven't really thought about, and they haven't like pointed it out too much unless she super exerts herself, Like this felt more of like a Beast aware of her battery.
Yeah.
And also kind of gets me thinking, is it kind of like the Flash or something where like all of the X-Men or any mutant needs to consume a certain number of calories for stuff? So does she just need like a Cliff Bar and then she's good?
Normally for her, it is being able to be in touch with the elements. Like if you have her like in the middle of space, far from any like close sunlight and stuff like that, she's not able to like recharge the same way. But if she's like near the water, near like the land, that's usually enough to like to be in touch with the weather. I don't know why they chose to take her out on this one.
Yeah, this time it was more just like a power meter on a video game or something.
Yeah. One thing, I'll bring up something during the later fight that happens. So I have a theory about that with her, because they did change certain like character moments. Like apparently when Emma was giving this description, even though it was the same thing in the English version and the Japanese version, apparently like her tone is much more rude in the American version than it is in the Japanese one. So yeah. Xavier is calling out at that point, can't get in touch with them. He's very concerned about it. And then you get like the first encouraging lesson moment from Emma to Hisako, where it's like, open your eyes, you can't hide, this isn't somebody else's fight.
Yeah, she doesn't completely power up. You see like the flickers.
You get a quick moment where Xavier is powering on Cerebro, trying to get through, and you see like static effects, stuff like that, and you get this like crying kid again, which they better explain that to us. If they don't explain it to us and they leave that on a cliffhanger, I'm going to be fucking pissed.
He called him Yui?
Yes.
So I didn't recognize that name.
Right. So I'm curious if that has to do with that other institute that he tried calling in the previous episode that didn't pick up, if that's some sort of like crossover on it. So
and they reference that institute again later, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. So they end up winning the fight, and we don't even see it because it's a pretty quick ass kicking between Beast rips stuff apart, Logan rips stuff apart, and then Cyclops just shoots like the optic blast across like a bunch of them, and they all start blowing up. But Beast points out it was like this seemed more like they were trying to analyze us than to actually fight us and beat us kind of thing. And I wonder if that's one of those lines that got dumbed down for the English audience. Like I could genuinely see them being like, we need to remind them.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like, did you see the Matt Damon interview with regard to his Netflix movie?
Oh, where you have to reiterate the plot points
three times kind of thing? Yeah. Because it's second screen watching and all that shit.
I like that because I won't put this specific friend on blast, but one of my friends like criticized that. They're like, how stupid is that? And I was like, you miss plot points from movies all the time because you're on your phone. It's like, yeah, but they should still make a good movie. I was like, you can't complain about when you're part of the problem.
Yeah, you're the reason why they're repeating this.
It's kind of like the Stranger Things finale for people that I guess most people who watch it at home. They were like for example, one of my friends texted me after the finale, and they were like, "It's like where the hell was Murray during the graduation?" It's like literally there, and I sent him the screenshot. It's like, "What were you doing?" Everybody that I knew, and even some of the criticism I saw online, would be like, "Why didn't this happen? This happened." It's like it literally did happen. It did. Literally did.
You looked away.
You were just probably looking at your phone or something. So you're thinking this is one of those moments where they're like, "Oh, this is a Western audience. They need to."
Yep. And that is why I literally watched these episodes twice as we prep for this show. Once is my note episode, and then one is my clean one where like my phone is off to the side and I only look at it if a text comes through and it's like my boss or something. Other than that, like phone stays down so I don't have those moments, you know?
Yeah.
Wolverine is impatient and decides to cut open a like grate in a like tunnel to make their way out. And that's where you see that they are beyond whatever scanners that Sublime and Kick have set up. Emma starts to feel her power coming back because she was obviously like still under some level of sedation, which explains why she didn't really try to get involved in that previous fight on it. And they walk into a, like what I first described it as the vial lab because there's just bunches of like vials and stuff like that over it. Yeah. And then they cut to like the operating table, which I know we talked about it when the U-Men first got mentioned, but you were like, oh, I hadn't heard about like the harvesting and stuff like that. That is the imagery that when I remember the most recent X-Force story during the Krakoan era, and they showed like the U-Men and what they were doing, like this is the U-Men right here is like the gross operating table, like, you know, not sedating people when they're putting them through like this torture and stuff like that. Like that captured the U-Men for me. So
gotcha.
Yep.
Okay.
So Beast is like gonna like touch one of the tubes, and that's where Kick pops up, and you get the reveal that they say these are organs that have been harvested from like all these other mutants, but they don't show it because that had to be a standards and practices thing. Because he's like, we have to keep these things viable, and it's like, well, what things? Because those are just red.
Yeah.
There's no organ floating in that thing right now. So
or they just didn't feel like animating it.
Yep. And that's when it kicks off with what I refer to as giant droid fight, and Kick mentions that the data that Sublime has been collecting has really paid off. Wolverine gets snagged on a big magnet. Cyclops gets taken out really, really quick, and his arms are held off to the side. And then they say that Storm is out of power. So this is the part that I wanted to reference in the earlier fight. in the original version of this, the reason why Storm doesn't actually attack is basically Kick is willing to use Wolverine as a shield. So he's doing it like, okay, well, if you zap me, you're going to zap your friend. So that's why she doesn't do the attack at that point, which makes me think they've tweaked it. Like that whole thing about her being too tired.
Yeah.
I wonder if in the first fight, Beast doesn't tell her to stop because she's tired. I wonder if he had originally said, and if somebody has watched the original version in Japanese and they could tell us this, this is my genuine theory. He said, stay back and protect the girls because they're not powered up right now. So she didn't have to power up. She was just holding off until something came at her. That's my theory on it.
Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah.
Because it doesn't make sense that Storm exerted herself that much in that previous fight. It was because it wasn't that big of a fight when she got hit by the kid who transformed. You know?
Yeah, because we watched her like disarm missiles and like turn entire desert into glass and stuff like.
And then we have the second thing that has changed in the episode. And this is all according to the one of the Marvel animated fandom wikis, just for reference appropriately on it. So Emma is trying to get into his head and can't do it. And they say the reason is because he has protections built in. But in the original version, apparently it's because he's just too insane and she can't get into his head.
I like that better.
I do too. I think it's more interesting. I'm like, wow, this dude is so nuts that a skilled telepath can't get into his brain.
Yeah.
So, yep. While that is happening, Beast has made his way over to Cyclops, and then instead of just saying like now, he gives like a long speech of like, Cyclops, do it now, where like Kick could have had time to react, but of course he didn't. And he pushes the button on the side of Cyclops' visor for Cyclops to shoot the shit out of Kick at this point.
I thought he got vaporized.
It starts to give that impression, like really early on. And then, he is able to still get up, decides to charge at Hisako. Emma is like there in front of her, but then Hisako is able to get in front of Emma, take the hit, and is fully powered up in her armor aspect. So,
oh no, this is where I thought he got vaporized.
With that,
she swings a punch. Yeah, and then they just show goo.
Yes,
like on stuff.
Yeah. Well, Scott's blast was pretty big, so I could see either one of those being it. Then he's shooting lasers. She keeps getting bigger, and then she throws like this massive uppercut that basically like blows him up to your vaporization stuff. So she's yelling and in pain, getting bigger, can't turn it off. Apparently, in the original version, she loses both her sight and her hearing during this, but in our version, it's only implied that she loses her
sight. Yeah,
her sight at that point.
She can't see anything. Yeah.
But apparently in the original language, it was both. Is implied.
Small change.
And then Emma and everybody is telling her to concentrate. Wolverine says it's like riding a bicycle.
It was a random. It wasn't helpful.
Scott tries to calm her down, similar to the ways that he would try to help control Jean when Jean was dealing with her Phoenix stuff, and he gets hit for his actions, and then steps back up, and it's one of those scenarios where it's like, this is absolutely a trope in not just anime, but almost all animation and probably some live action too, of like, stand there ready to take the punch, and it stops an inch in front of his face. So, yeah. And then I believe Emma yelled, "Believe," is what she yelled to Sako. I could be wrong on it, but that's what I think she yelled at her.
Something like that, to like that she can control powers or
right.
Something.
And it's in the like her astral projection, and that's when she's able to power down, and Emma's like, "Yep, lesson is learned. Good job."
Yeah.
And then from that, Wolverine goes, yeah, I don't think she killed Jean. So this dude was literally ready to ice this person 30 minutes prior. And then he's like, oh, okay, she saved a kid. She didn't kill Jean.
Yeah. I think he even says something like, good thing I didn't kill her or something.
Yeah. Yep. Scott still doesn't believe it, but it is what it is. You see Sublime's like big, scary techno-organic murder ship take off and get on out of there. And then Wolverine is like, cool, time to wake everybody else up. And they start like saving the other people who had been taken. They go back to I guess that's an apartment building that they live in, right? Or they where Asako's parents live.
Paris. I didn't pay attention. I don't know.
But they go back to that building. And then you see Kick appears, shouts at her. Emma like charges and yells something back to get in the way. And that's where we get our to be continued on the episode.
Oh, yeah. So she takes the proverbial bullet.
Which, not to spoil the next episode, Kick's yell and Emma's response are not in the next episode.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's something that happened in a lot of shows back then, too, though. Yeah, like when they would go like to commercial or come back to the next episode, they would replay the scene, but it would be different.
Yeah, like something would be cut or something added to it, yeah.
And in animation, it never made sense to me because, like, wouldn't it be easier to just use the same thing?
It would.
Like, sometimes the animation would be different.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was weird. It would like look different, or I don't know. Yeah, that was kind of funny.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, like, I see why this is like you get 2 fights, you get a bunch of lore off of it. You get Emma's boob window, so of course that's like that's easily 0.2 points on IMDb's rating scale, right?
Yeah.
And then I don't remember if we had talked about it, but Armor was in the Joss Whedon run of Astonishing X-Men and would actually become like a full-fledged member of the team in that story. So
gotcha.
Yeah. So definitely a lot of this series was inspired by that Joss Whedon run because you have Emma being a part of the team. You have Beast in like the Kitty vibes. Mm-hmm. The U-Men being characters that are utilized and stuff. So there was definitely a lot of inspo from that Astonishing era, at least in this one.
Gotcha. And that was like around the same time period.
I want to say it was 2003 or 4. I could be a little off on the exact date.
So
because
like a decade.
Astonishing had been around by the time of House of M. And House of M started when I got back into comics in 2005. So there had at least been some Astonishing issues out before that House of M hit. So,
gotcha.
No.
Yeah, it was interesting episode because, like I said, like most of it, like I want to like 90% of it happens at that like cryo chamber, like the one thing. It's kind of like what New Mutants the movie should have been.
Go on with that. I don't disagree. I'm kind of interested in what your vibe.
The movie was set to be like this like indie horror film. Great idea for an MCU movie or kind of an adopted MCU movie, right? Yep. It was a Fox movie they got, but like executed terribly.
Of course,
like
it was 3 separate movies at once. Yeah,
yeah, like make Anya Joy Taylor like randomly racist, like and then like the dialogue's weird and the like. And then like the was it Magic that had the teleporting powers? Like
Magic had the teleporting powers. Yep.
That completely like conflicted like conflicted like the entire premise of the movie that they couldn't escape the mansion stuff. So like this kind of proves that like if the writing's good, even with these like, weird little things from Storm and stuff, like it can still be like an interesting 20 or 30 minutes of this setting.
And it's like they got like really good allusions to body horror and stuff like that. So it was like, if you wanted to go that one step further, you could have on it. So no.
Yeah, I think this was it's funny. I'll say, like, we'll talk about more of this in the next episode. I feel like these first 4 episodes were really just like the introduction.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like this easily could have been like one 40-minute episode with this and the next episode together, or even these first 4 together could just have been like an hour long. Like, here's a setup, and here we go with the show. I
mean, I do feel like with certain anime that is the case, where it's just like, yeah, they had a hour and 30-minute story, but they were only able to do it in 22s, you know?
Yeah. I do appreciate that it doesn't do the trope of like reiterating like half of the previous episode.
the Dragon Ball Z problem.
Oh yeah, is that where they get that from?
I don't know if that's where it started, but I know that was where it was most prominent to me, like as an early like anime, like becoming aware of it. And I think that's part of why I never got into DBZ. And I know my buddies from Mega 64 are probably mad at me anytime I ever say that, because they love Dragon Ball. But that was like a part of it that was a turnoff for me.
I think it was because it was one of our friends, Ruth Ann, had said something about like there are fans that have made edits where they took out the unnecessary parts to save
like the repetitive stuff, and it ends up only being like, you know, a quarter of the time.
But mostly just for like people like I'm not going to catch up on, but like if I decide to jump in today.
Yeah,
that it wouldn't be impossible. It's like you could actually like come out kind of in a realistic amount of time, like you know, watch it or something.
Totally.
But yeah, no, I dug it. Just more lore, and then we actually finish this next time.
Yes. So, thank you guys for joining us. If you have any thoughts, make sure to drop them in the comments for either the YouTube videos, the Spotify upload, or the official Instagram posts that we do about each episode. At minimum, we do 2 per episode, because there's always one that is the IRL footage and then one that is the visualizer footage on it. And if you like what you heard, we really would appreciate a rating on the podcast app if you're choosing. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Spotify, and YouTube podcasts.
Bye.